Welcome to the Great Oak Elementary Drama Club production of American Odyssey. Please refrain from taking flash photography as it will damage our actors' delicate skin.
The birth of our nation was as tumultuous as the birth of our planet itself. As Newton's third law of motion states, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Britain's action were met with equal and opposite reactions by the American colonies. The more they pushed, the more we rebelled. Time would tell whose will would be stronger, but we know the real answer, don't we? To understand, our story begins with the French and Indian War. What was it that both sides wanted to obtain during the French and Indian War? The answer is the same as for most wars: economical and territorial expansion, and to protect the influence over new lands and peoples. Now just imagine if France had won the French and Indian War. First, it would likely be known as the British and American War. That clearly doesn't have the same ring. Every toilet would have a bidet. Well, that wouldn't be that bad. Target would be called Target. Oh, wait a minute. Amazon Prime would be Amazon Prime. No, that would just be silly. I digress. Our country has been referred to as young, scrappy, and hungry. We are innovators, adventurers, rebels, and rousers. The first colonists were rebels looking to forge their own way, find religious freedom and political liberty. Here is their story.
Do you have the time to listen to us whine about the birth of our nation and what comes?
We are some of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes we act out hostilely. It's our American Odyssey. It all keeps adding up. I think we're cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Look at this song. I went to a string to analyze my strings. She said it's pretty smooth and brings me down. I went to my friend, my buddy to the end. Let's fight the
I'll never eat a baguette again.
Or puffy franks of quiche, or duck confit with a side of onion soup, their sweet or savory crepes, or their croissants.
But they are so tasty. No. You are my most trusted advisors. What shall we do to help pay down the massive war debt?
Not to mention the cost to keep a standing army in North America for governance and defense.
We can sell some jewels.
What about your fancy chair? Not my fancy chair.
Sir, we could. No, that's silly.
Come on, tell us.
But it's really an awful idea. Like the time you got your head stuck in the stockade.
And the communists threw rotten vegetables at your head.
And spanked your bottom. Enough. Let's get back to the story. What was your idea?
Okay, you know how we fought the French and Indian Wars over in the New World?
Yes.
The territorial dispute we had with the French over the Ohio River Valley, we had competing interests in the fur trade, and the Native Americans allied with each of us to protect our land and culture future. The one that started the 7 Years' War?
Yes, the 7 Years' War.
And if it were 1 year earlier, it would be the 6 Years' War.
6, 7, whatever. All right, get on with it.
Well, since we won that war, we have an endless money of supplies to tap into.
Oh. I'm not following.
We can tax the goods we bring to the colonies.
Tax the colonies? Yes, call them the Parliamentarians.
Parliamentarians, sir?
Yes, call them the Parliamentarians. If you were to raise tax revenue from the colonies, what items would you tax?
Sugar, sir. Sugar is something they cannot produce themselves. It is an indispensable ingredient in the production of rum, one of their most important exports.
Genius! And if you were to make it law, how would you word it?
We could say something like, for every 100 weight of such foreign white or clay sugars, 1 pound, 2 shillings, over and above all other duties imposed by any former act of Parliament.
Ooh, how about this, Your Majesty? For every 100 weight of such British coffee, 7 shillings. And for every pound weight of such British pimento, 1/2 penny. They love those little peppers.
For every piece of lawn cloth important to the Great Britain and the 3 shillings. For every piece of French law important to the Great Britain and the 3 shillings.
Hey, I'm kind of mad about this. Seems like it's going to be bad for business.
They tried to tax our sugar and molasses in 1733. We simply won't pay it. But they say they'll arrest us and try us in military court. Those military courts don't have juries and are less forgiving than general courts. Well, let's see how this goes.
Sir, the Sugar Act is going swimmingly. We're ranking in the silver.
Goody, goody, goody. It's going so well, we should tax something else. Call in the party minions.
Parliamentarians, sir?
Yes, call in the parliamentarians. If you were to raise more tax revenue from the colonies, what items would you tax?
Stamps, sir. We could use embossed stamps that must be purchased and affixed to paper goods to signify the tax has been paid.
Genius! And if you were to make it law, how would you word it?
Well, we could say something like, for every piece of paper, for every pamphlet and paper contained in half a sheet and or less a piece of paper, shall be stamped with the stamp of duty of 1/2 penny.
Ooh, how about this, Your Majesty? For every such pamphlet and paper being larger than half a sheet and not exceeding 1 whole sheet, which shall be so printed, a stamp duty of 1 penny for every printed copy thereof.
For every landmarks and calendar which shall be written for one particular year, written or printed within the said colonies, are platinums of stamp duty of 4 pence.
For goodness sakes, they're taxing our calendars now.
Are they saying we need to pay a tax on the pamphlets we print, for which we will protest the Stamp Act? That's absurd, and that's outrageous. We must inform the Sons of Liberty. Well, let's see how this goes.
Sir, I'm not sure the colonists are happy with the Stamp Act. They seem quite upset.
Oh, they will get over it. Let's make a new law. Call on the parliamentarians.
Parliamentarians, sir?
Yes, call on the parliamentarians. If you were to raise tax revenue from the colonies, what items would you tax?
Quartering, sir. We would require colonial authorities to provide food, drink, quarters, fuel, and transportation to British forces stationed in their towns or villages.
Genius! And if you were to make it law, how would you word it?
Well, we could say something like, an act to amend and render more effectual His Majesty's dominions in America, an act for punishing mutiny and desertion, and for the better payment of the army and the quarters.
How about this, Your Majesty? Regulations are made for the better governing of the army and providing quartering for the army and carriages on marches and other necessary occasions. I love a good carriage ride.
There may be occasions of marching and quartering His Majesty's forces in several parts of His Majesty's dominions in America, and whereas the public houses and barracks in His Majesty's dominions in America may not be sufficient to supply quarters for such forces. They're going to quarter us! No, you fool. They want us to quarter their soldiers.
Quarter their soldiers? Sounds fun, but a little counterproductive on their end.
Oof, the meaning of this quarter is to house their soldiers.
I get it now. What? No way.
Well, let's see how this goes. Sir, there is someone at your front gate. He has a package for you.
Well, bring him in.
I have a package here for George.
What's in it?
It's a new wig, sir.
New wig. Do I look like I need a new wig? What's the address it's supposed to be delivered to?
76 King's Corner.
Well, that's your problem right there. This is 67 King's Corner, you fool. Enough!
My mistake.
Sir, the colonists are responding to the Stamp Act with outrage. They've organized boycotts of our goods, protesting in the streets, and even attacking our tax collectors.
They're chanting things like no taxation without rehydration.
No. I think they're saying no taxation without representation.
No taxation without representation. Yes, that does make more sense.
They are arguing that the Parliament had no right to tax them as they have no elected representatives in the British government.
These colonial boycotts will significantly impact our trade. Our merchants will suffer substantial losses. We must reconsider the Stamp Act due to the economic hardship we will incur. Call in the parliamentary buns.
Parliamentarians, sir?
Yes, call in the parliamentarians. We must reconsider the Stamp Act due to the economic hardship we will incur.
Huh?
I want you to repeal the Stamp Act.
Repeal the Stamp Act? But the swine will think we are weak. We mustn't encourage them, Your Majesty.
Ah, you are right. What do you suggest?
I have a solution, sir. Take this down. Whereas several of the Houses of Representatives in His Majesty's colonies in America have alleged against law claimed their sole exclusive rights of imposing duties and taxes upon His Majesty's dominions in America. ...
May I add something? And that the King's Majesty, with the advice and consent of the Lords Spiritual and Temporal and Commons of Great Britain, have full power and authority to make laws and statutes of sufficient force. It just turned off. Oh. To bind the people of America in all cases whatsoever.
Extra, extra. King George is being very difficult. Read all about it. Oh, thank you, sir. I only have 67 papers left.
How many papes have you sold?
41. Full power and authority to make laws and statutes sufficient force and valid to bind the colonies and people of America.
They're still gonna tax glass, lead, paint, paper, and tea.
Those stickers, they took the Stamp Act but stuck it to us anyway. Let's tell our merchants and traders not to import or export items to Britain. We can call it the Boston Non-Importation Agreement.
You mean like a boycott?
Yes, we will boycott British goods.
Smart!
Ah, these silly humans. They never do seem to get along. It's always, if you do this, then I'll do that. So juvenile. Oh no, is this mic on? In response to the Boston Non-Importation Agreement, Parliament ultimately repealed the Townshend Revenue Act taxes on all commodities except tea. So the colonists were happy but sad. This remaining tea tax continued to fuel colonial resentment. The evening of March 5th, 1770 began normally enough. It was a cold, frigid night. A light snow covered the streets and walkways. Many residents escaped the cold indoors, and British soldiers took to their barracks. Private Hugh White, scheduled for sentry duty, took his position outside the Custom House on King Street, just beyond the townhouse. The quiet of the night soon turned as colonists took to the streets looking to agitate British soldiers. In many places throughout Boston, groups of colonists taunted British soldiers near the Liberty Tree, down Boylston Alley, near Murray's Barracks, and at Dock Square. But the greatest conflict occurred on King Street. Colonists surrounded Private White, hurling insults and objects at the sentry who called out for reinforcements. Hearing this plea, Captain Thomas Preston led a small group of soldiers to rescue Private White. By this time, a large number of colonists had encircled the soldiers, and they could not leave their place outside the Custom House. The crowd continued to hurl insults and challenged the soldiers repeatedly to fire their weapons. Preston's men loaded their muskets in front of the crowd. The crowd became angrier and angrier. At one point, a club or stick was thrown at the soldiers and struck one of the British soldiers. The soldier fell to the ground. He stood back up and yelled, "Fire!" and fired his musket into the crowd. The musket ball struck a colonist who fell to the ground. A few seconds later, the other British soldiers fired into the crowd. 11 people were hit, 5 men were killed, and 6 were wounded. This event was called the Boston Massacre by the Boston Gazette and was a pivotal piece of propaganda that pushed the American colonies closer to revolution. Time passes, but resentment is stewing. 3 years later, in 1773, the British enacted the Tea Act. This law gave the struggling East India Company a monopoly on selling tea in the American colonies, which hurt colonial merchants, allowing it to bypass middlemen and sell tea directly to colonists at a lower price. Colonists also saw it as a way to force them to accept the principle of taxation without representation, because a tax on tea was still in place. We continue our story in Boston at the Old South Meeting House on December 16, 1773. The Sons of Liberty are meeting to discuss how to deal with the Tea Act.
I call this meeting of Sons and Liberty to order. My friends and I, we are simple people meeting here for the same purpose. We must organize and represent to the Tea Act. Who here has an idea how to proceed?
I say we tattoo our names on the king's buttocks.
No. I see we fill the ships with horse dung and send them back to England.
That's ridiculous and immature. We must hit them where it hurts. What else do we have?
Put castor oil in their tea?
Let's dye their silly wigs.
Also, their shoes that are too small.
Charles, you were too evil.
What? It would be very painful.
Let's dump their English tea in the harbor.
Brilliant! Friends, please.
They have 3 ships full of tea in the harbor.
That's right. The Beaver, Dartmouth, and Eleanor are moored at Griffin's Wharf.
Let's toss the tea!
We'll make Boston Harbor a teapot tonight.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Gentlemen, we must use diplomacy.
Hey, hey. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, bye.
We're doing this tonight. It's probably gonna start a fight. I know this can't be right. Hey, baby, come on. We really love our tea. They taxed it endlessly. So now it's time to leave and make it alone. You know that we can't take no more. It ain't no lie. We wanna see you out that door, baby. Bye, 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 bye. Don't wanna be a fool for you. Just another player in your game for two. Might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie. Bye, bye, bye. Don't really wanna make it tough. I just wanna tell you that I've had enough. Might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye. They hit us with the tax. Gotta get 'em back. Have so many reasons, baby, come on. We lived here to be free, and now we really come to see that life would be much better once they're gone. You know that we can't take no more, it ain't no lie. We wanna see you out that door, baby. Bye, 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 bye. Don't wanna be a fool for you. Just another player in the game for two. Might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye. Don't really wanna make it tough. I just wanna tell you that I had enough. Might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye. We're not giving up, we know for sure. We don't wanna pay your tax or drink your tea no more. We're not giving up, we know for sure. We don't wanna pay your tax or drink your tea no more. Just another player in your game for two. You may hate me, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye. Don't really wanna make it tough. I just wanna tell you that I've had enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye.
Oh, that's funny. Taking the English tea and throwing it in the harbor. The colonists are a witty bunch, calling it a tea party. That reminds me of a witty joke. What did the colonists wear to the Boston Tea Party? What did the colonists wear to the Boston Tea Party? Come on, you call yourselves intelligent beings. I want some answers. What was that? Slacks? Well, you must be over 50. Please tell me you didn't just say that. Anything they ordered on Temu? Don't be ridiculous. The internet was invented for 200 years. So what did the colonists wear to the Boston Tea Party? Well, t-shirts, of course. Yeah, I know. I didn't say it was a good joke. Well, let's get this party started.
To the Atlantic Ocean. That set me back £18,000 sterling.
That's 2.2 million in today's money by some accounts.
What's that?
Nothing, sir.
I've had quite enough of this tit for tat. We need to pass some laws that will really get their breeches in a bunch.
How about we close the port of Boston and demand the colonists pay for the tea they dumped into Boston Harbor?
I like it. Yes, let's do that.
Sir, I suggest we revoke the colony's charter and replace their elected officials with royally appointed ones. This will increase royal control and suppress colonial resistance.
I like it too. Yes, let's do that.
How about this, sir? We allow the British officials to be accused and the crimes of the colonies to be tried in Britain,
effectively removing accountability to local justice.
Not very nasty, but I see where you are going.
Sir, we could also renew the Quartering Acts and add a provision that the royal governor could house soldiers in unoccupied buildings.
Without the consent of the owners if proper barracks were not provided.
Ooh, I can't decide. I like them all. I know, we can enact them all.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I think I'll tax you again and blockade your port, 'cause we are not friends. Oh, baby.
It might seem like you're crushed, but now you will know that I'm serious. 'Cause to lose all my forces, that is just so typically me. Oh, baby, baby. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. You're losing this game. Oh, baby, baby. Oops, you think you're above, but it's 40 love. I'm not that innocent.
See, your problem is this. You're dreaming away, wishing that freedom it truly exists. I cry while you betray. Can't you see that she rules in so many ways?
Use all my forces. That is just so typically me. Oh, baby. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. You're losing this game. Oh, baby, baby. Oops, you think you're above, but it's 40 love. I'm not that innocent.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I played with your heart, got lost in this game. Oh, baby, baby, oops, you think you're above, but it's 40 love. I'm not that I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in this game. Oh, baby. Oops, you think I'm in love, but I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent.
We must now travel back to the colonies, where the First Continental Congress is in session. It's September 5th, 1774, at Carpenter's Hall, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Delegates from 12 of Britain's 13 American colonies are meeting to discuss their future under growing British aggression. The delegates are discussing how to respond to the punishing laws Britain has introduced. They will also plan for a second Continental Congress if things don't go their way.
As president of the Continental Congress, I call this meeting to order. 12 of our 13 colonies have agreed to meet and discuss an economic response to the British Empire's implementation of the Coercive Acts. As you know, they are planning to reassert their dominance over us in response to our Tea Party.
Got him good on that one, eh?
I believe we can still reason with the British government and King George III. We must de-escalate this conflict through diplomacy.
Now is not the time to be reasonable, Mr. J. We need to get tough.
Mr. Randolph, I would like to make a proposal.
Let us recognize Joseph Galloway from Pennsylvania.
I suggest we create a colonial parliament that work hand in hand with the British Parliament. The British monarch would appoint a president general that work hand in hand with the British Parliament and delegates for a 3-year term.
Let's put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay!
Aye.
Nay!
We need to be more aggressive and decisive to respond to the Empire.
I second that. Mr. Adams is right. We must have our own rights as a colony. Why should Parliament have any legislative authority over us?
Thank you, Mr. Henry. And furthermore, we may need to prepare a military response.
Gentlemen, we must come together in agreement. Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle?
Well, Mr. Washington, what do you want?
Yo, I tell you what I really want.
So tell me what you want, what you really want.
I tell you what I really want.
So tell me what you want, what you really want.
I wanna really want. Zig a zig ah. Think about your future. Think about your past. If you wanna all be free, you better agree fast.
Now don't go wasting our precious time. Get your act together and we'll be just fine.
I tell you what I really want.
So tell me what you want, what you really want.
I wanna really want. Zig a zig ah.
If you wanna all be equal, you gotta act like
your friends. We must stick together. Kinship never ends.
If you wanna all be equal, Britain's got to give.
Unify together. That's the way it is. What do you think about that? Now you know how I feel. Say wanting Englishmen's rights. Are you for real? We want our freedom, our property, including the rights to life and liberty. I tell you what I really want.
So tell me what you want, what you really want.
I wanna really want. Zig a zig ah. If you wanna all be equal, you gotta act like your friends. We must stick together. Kinship never ends. If you wanna all be equal, Britain's got to give. Unify together. That's the way it is. So here's a story from A to Z. You wanna get with me? Gotta listen carefully. We got George in the place to really his face. We got Pat the MC who likes yours. John and Sam, you know the man. Everyone's a fan. And as for the rest, they're playing. You'll see. Set everybody down and watch it all around. Set everybody down and watch it all around. If you wanna all be equal, you gotta act like your friends. We must stick together. Kinship never ends. If you wanna all be equal, Britain's got to give. Unify together. That's the way it is. If you wanna all be equal.
And they did come together. They put their differences away and found common ground in the middle. The delegates agreed to a coordinated boycott of British goods. They drafted a formal petition and sent it to King George III, expressing their grievances and requesting a change in British policy. They created a document called Declaration and Resolves. In it, they listed colonial objections to the intolerable acts, declared that colonists should have the same rights as Englishmen, and included a Bill of Rights and a list of grievances against the British government. Congress also agreed to meet again in May 1775 if the British government did not address their complaints. This would be called the Second Continental Congress. Finally, the Congress recommended that the colonies raise and regulate their own militias to defend themselves if the British responded to the boycott with force. But alas, the English Empire was prideful. They ignored the colonists' petition request and passed new acts, such as the New England Restraining Act, which further inflamed tensions. We now turn to the Second Virginia Convention on March 23, 1775, at St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia. Peyton Randolph is again presiding as president of this convention.
I approve the proceedings of the First Continental Congress. All in favor?
Ayes.
Let the record show that the proceedings were approved. Our members would like to express our warmest thanks to the delegates who represented Virginia in the First Continental Congress.
Here's.
Let us begin with any new business.
Mr. President, I have something I must say.
The convention recognizes Mr. Patrick Henry from the Hanover County.
Mr. President, the royal governor has failed to call the House of Burgesses into session. This has left the colony without a way to renew expired laws or to protect rights. Building a militia shows natural strength and is the only way for free government.
What are you suggesting, Mr. Henry?
I suggest we build a militia and take our rights.
Building up a militia will only enrich the crown. They will surely hit us with their most severe forces.
What Mr. Henry proclaims is true. England will never loosen its noose. We must loosen it ourselves.
Gentlemen, I say I must be more persuasive. Mr. President, it is natural for man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against the painful truth. Is this the part of wise men engaged in the struggle for liberty? I have but one lamp which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no way of judging by the future, but by the past. And by judging by the past, I wish to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry for the last 10 years to justify those hopes with which gentlemen have been pleased to solace themselves in the House. And have we anything to oppose to them? Shall we try argument? Sir, we've been trying that for the last 10 years. Have we anything new to oppose to them? Nothing. We must fight. I repeat it, sir. We must fight. Our chains are forked. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable. Let it come. I repeat it, sir. Let it come. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? I know not what course others may take. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death.
He is on fire, has one desire, believe. When we say that he wants it that way, our two worlds apart, please reach to your heart. When I say that I want it that way, just say I ain't nothing but a handshake. He's our God, it will not be a mistake. But if not, we really wanna hear you say that I want it that way. I am your fire, your one desire. It's too late, but I want it that way. Aim high, ain't nothing but a handshake. Battle cry, it will not be a mistake. Shepherd pie, we really wanna hear you say that I want it that way. We've fallen apart from the way that it used to be, yeah. No matter the distance, I want you to know that deep down inside of me, tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why we really wanna hear you say that I want it that way. I want it that way.
Ah, yes, he truly was on fire, and his fire spread like wildfire, as fires often do. If King George only needed Smokey the Bear's advice, following the Second Virginia Convention and Patrick Henry's inflammatory speech, a committee was established to organize the militia in Virginia. Massachusetts intensified its work in preparing their militia. This includes stocking military supplies and training the Minutemen, who were ready for battle at a moment's notice. But the British were planning a secret mission to seize and destroy military supplies that the Patriots had stockpiled in Concord, Massachusetts. On April 18, 1775, under the order of General Thomas Gage in Boston, British troops began a march toward Concord, Massachusetts. However, Patriot leaders in Boston discovered the British plan. Dr. Joseph Warren summoned Paul Revere and gave him the task of riding to Lexington, Massachusetts with the news that British soldiers stationed in Boston were set to march into Concord to confiscate the military supplies. Here is the story of Paul Revere's ride as told by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April, 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year.
He said to his friend, "If the British march by land or sea from the town tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the North Church Tower, as a single light. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm, through every Middlesex village and farm, for the country folk to be up and to arm."
Then he said goodnight with muffled oar, silently rowed to Charleston shore, just as the moon rose over the bay where the swinging water in mornings lay. The sun was set, British man of war, the flight-dip ship with each mast and spar, across the moon like a prison bar. A huge black hope that was magnified by its own reflection in the tide.
Meanwhile, his friend through the alley and street wanders and watches with eager ears. To the silence around him he hears muster of men at the barrack door, the sound of arms and the tramp of feet, and the measured tread of the grenadiers, marching down to their boats on the shore.
Then he climbed to the tower of the Old North Church, up the wooden stairs, a stealthy thread, to the belfry chamber overhead. Startled the pigeons from their perch, sombre rafters round him made, masses moving shapes of shade. By the trembling ladder, steep and tall, to the highest window in the wall. Then he paused to listen and looked down at moments of the roofs of the town, the moonlight flowing over all.
Beneath in the churchyard lay the dead, in their night encampment on the hill, wrapped in silence so deep and still that he could hear like a sentinel's tread the dreadful night wind as it went, creeping along from tent to tent.
And seeming to whisper all is well, in the moment he only feels the spell of the place in the air and the secret dread of the lonely belfry and the dead. For suddenly all thoughts are bent on a line of black that bends and floats on the rising tide like a bridge of boats.
Meanwhile, impatient to mount and ride,
booted in spur with a heavy stride, on the opposite shore walked Paul Revere. Now he patted his horse's side, now gazed on the landscape far and near, impetuous stamped the earth, and turned and tightened his saddle's girth. But mostly he watched with eager search the belfry tower of the Old North Church, as it rose above the graves on the hill, lonely in spectacle and somber and still. And lo, as he looks on the belfry's height, a glimmer and then a gleam of light. He swings to the saddle, the bridle he turns, but lingers and gazes till full on his sight a second lamp in the belfry burns. A hurry of hooves in the village street, a shape in the moonlight, a bulk in the dark, and beneath from the pebbles in passing a spark, struck out by a steed that flies fearless and fleet. That was all, and yet through the gloom and the light, the fate of a nation was riding that night, and the spark struck out by that steed in his flight kindled the land into flame with its heat.
he has left the village and mounted the steep, and beneath him tranquil and board the deep, is mystic meeting the ocean tides, and under the alders that skirt its edge, now soft on the sand, now loud on the ledge, is heard the tramp of his steed as he rides.
It was 12 by the village clock when he crossed into Bedford town. He heard the crowing of the cock and the barking of the farmer's dog, and felt the damp of the river fog that rises when the sun goes down.
It was 1 by the village clock when he galloped into Lexington. He saw the guided by the rock swimming in the moonlight as he passed, and the meeting house windows blank and bare gazed at him with a special glare, as if they already stood against at the bloody work they would look upon.
It was 2
by the village clock when he came to the bridge in Concord town and heard the bleating of the flock, the twitter of birds among the trees, and felt the breath of the morning breeze blowing over the meadows brown. And one was safe and asleep in his bed, who that day would be first to fall, who that day would be lying dead, pierced by a British musket ball.
know the rest in the books you have read, how the British regulars fired and fled, how the farmers gave them ball for ball, from behind each fence and farmyard wall, chasing the redcoats down the lane, then crossing the fields to emerge again, under the trees at the turn of the road, and only pausing to fire and load.
So through the night rode Paul Revere, and so through the night went his cry of alarm, through every Middlesex village and farm.
A cry of defense and not of fear, a voice in the darkness, a knock at the door, and a word that shall echo forevermore.
For born on the night wind of the past, through all our history to the last, in an hour of darkness and peril and need.
The people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed in the midnight message of Paul Revere.
Paul's warning worked. It allowed the patrol militia to organize before the arrival of British forces. At 5 in the morning on April 19th, British troops marched into the small town of Lexington to find themselves faced by a militia of more than 70 men. They were led by Captain John Parker. These were the first battles of the American Revolution. At Concord.
Thunder! 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 There we stood in the middle of Lexington Green. Thunder! We looked round. Captain Parker controlled the scene. Thunder! My mind raced, and I thought, will we attack? Thunder! And I knew there was no turning back. Thunder! Sound of the drums beat in my heart. The thunder of guns, yeah, tore me apart. You bet. Thunderstruck. On the highway, the British on the way to Kabul. Until all north, you preach who we had suffered. You met them, attacking quickly withdrew. Broke on the roads, made them like fools. Yeah, we blew them out. And the shaking at the knees, which was made of Boston, please. And your soldiers were too late. They fell. Thunderstruck. Ooh, thunderstruck. Yeah, thunderstruck. Ooh, thunderstruck. Yeah, thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. You've been thunderstruck. Yeah.
These were the first battles of the American Revolution. At Concord, the first volley of the war is forever memorialized in Ralph Waldo Emerson's 1837 poem, Concord Hymn. By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled. Here once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard around the world. Soon the Second Continental Congress convened in Philadelphia on May 10, 1775. Its delegates knew the fate of the colonies rested squarely on their shoulders. They had some big plans to create. Congress resolves to prepare for war but continues to seek reconciliation. It emerged from the need for a coordinated response to British aggression. The Congress served as a governing body and would form a new federation that it first called the United Colonies of North America. Congress then turned its attention to raising an army. After the battles of Lexington and Concord, about 20,000 provincial corps of a continental army, if they could just find someone to lead it.
Welcome, delegates. Thank you for coming these difficult times. We meet here today to address the escalating conflict with Britain. We must consider our defense.
I recommend using the militia units around Boston to create a continental army. They have valuable military experience and already at a minute's notice.
A fine idea, Johnny. The forces did quite well in the battles of Lexington and Concord. Why reinvent the wheel? Does anyone have a nomination to lead this force?
I nominate George Washington as the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. He has a commanding presence and inspires confidence. True, and he has valuable military experience from the French and Indian War.
His leadership will unite the southern colony with the New England colony.
Mr. Washington, you have proven yourself strong of heart and steady of mind. Do you accept this nomination to lead this force? May you step up to the podium.
Mr. President, as the Congress desire it, I will enter upon this monumentous duty and exert every power possessed in their service and for the support of the glorious cause. I beg you will accept my most cordial thanks for the distinguished testimony of approbation.
Hip, hip! Hooray! Hip, hip!
Somebody once told me King George is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. He was looking kinda dumb with his finger and his thumb in the shape of an L on his forehead. Well, it's May the 10th, 1775, Independence Hall. Yeah, we met inside Jefferson, Adams, and Madison. 60 delegates are ready for fun. So much to do, so much to see, so much wrong with taking the backseat. You never know if you don't go, go. You never shine if you don't go. Hey now, you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star, get your show on, get paid. Now all that glitters is gold, only shooting stars break the mold. It's a cool place, and they say scared Belix just tell it all branch and put in a letter. But some of the men beg you for a battle. Bunker Hill makes me want to reconsider. The ice we skate is getting pretty thin. The water's getting warm, so you might as well swim. My world's on fire, how about yours? That's the way I like it, I'll never get bored. Hey now, you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star, get your show on, get paid. Now all that glitter is gold, only shooting stars break the mold. Hey now, you're a rock star, get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star, get your show on, get paid. Now all